Hi everyone, and welcome back to Weekly Book Talk. Today I will be introducing Haley Taylor, and she has been reading a book. Interesting. So, what exactly is the novel you have read and why?
So again, the novel I read was So Be It by Sarah Weeks. And the reason why I chose this book was because of the cover page. I just thought that it looked really interesting to read.
Number 2, overall, what is the setting of the novel?
So the overall setting, for the most part, is in Reno, Nevada.
Number 3, who is the narrator throughout this novel?
The narrator throughout the novel is a 12-year-old girl named Heidi, and the effect that her role kind of has as the narrator throughout the whole entire story is her explaining her journey throughout the entire story.
Number 4, describe who the protagonist is.
So the protagonist of the story is yet again Heidi. She's a very patient girl. She obviously has to have a lot of patience because her mother is disabled. She's very determined. She's a very trustworthy and kind person, and she's very mature for her age.
Can you give us a brief summary of So Be It?
So Heidi and her handicapped mom live together in this condo. It's kind of like a connecting door that they have, and they're connected with their very caring neighbor. Her name is Bernadette, and she takes care of Heidi and her mom. And throughout the whole novel, Heidi is just trying to figure out who she is and where she came from and who her family is, because her mom can't speak really. So because of that, Heidi doesn't really know who she is and where she came from. And so Heidi randomly stumbles upon these pictures of what looks to be where her mom was in a care home in New York. So Heidi kind of starts to go on a mission to figure out where she came from and who she really is.
What's your favorite line or passage from the book?
My favorite passage would be when Bernadette says to Heidi, "And remember, baby, listen to the eyes." She told her this so that way she knew that she had to look into people's eyes to understand who they were.
What kind of audience would you expect to read this book?
I would typically see probably more women reading this book, and the age I would probably say would probably be around middle school and above, just so that way they can kind of understand the concept of what's going on.
How would you rate this book, and what were your overall thoughts of it?
Overall, I thought it was a really good book. I would definitely recommend it to people who kind of enjoy these kind of stories, and I would rate this book probably an 8 out of 10 for how good.
What is the overall theme or message you think the book portrays?
So I would say that the major theme would be that sometimes we overlook the little things in life because we're too caught up in something we're so determined to find out that we forget what's really important. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to Heidi as she went along on this journey to figure out who she was and where she came from.
What does this protagonist desire, and what's the main conflict of the novel?
So Heidi is determined to figure out, again, who she is, where she came from, who her family is, and she's determined to figure out what this one specific word means that her mom says all the time. Again, it's So Be It by Sarah Weeks.
So what is